As a new RVer, you may not consider how well or not well you might sleep in one of these remote areas. And I'm just sharing that because there might be someone out there who's never done this before and you think you want to go out in nature and just like get away and get alone.
If I want to go camping in a Corps of Engineer park, I got to book it 6 months out. It's so stupid.
It's so annoying. I mean, we could talk about this for 15 minutes. I'm annoyed talking about it with you guys.
Even today, this still shocks me.
15 things we wish we knew sooner before buying our first RV. To put this video into context, we want to say that first of all, we're part-time RVers. We are not full-time, and we've been part-timing for like 13 years. So these are 15 things we wish we knew sooner before buying our first RV. Maybe things we've experienced that, looking back, maybe we wish we would have known. It would have saved us time or money or heartache of some kind.
Or all of the above.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's probably a little of all of the above. And so saying that on the RV side is like, we can equate this to like, we've had like 17 RVs, I feel like, in 13 years. It's not quite that bad, but I think we average, what are we on now?
6, we're on number 6, which is still quite a bit.
Yeah, it's like every other year we get a new RV. We're just gonna give you.
Don't judge. You've
Yeah.
had 6 RVs too. Okay, some of you have, not all of you.
But I will say this is like, you also got to take this in the context of like, we're giving you, this is how we did it, and you probably don't want to do it this way. Do as I say and not as I do.
The video may be helpful, it may not, but you all seem to like our chat sometimes and the conversation in the comments and, you know, give and take, what's good for RVing and what's unnecessary. And so this is all part of that, you know, RV life conversation. So welcome to our back patio.
Ooh, did you see this?
Hang tight with us. Our next adventure coffee mug.
We have coffee mugs.
We're special. Number 1, kids don't care about the RV. And what I mean by that is the style, you know, the layout. They just need a comfy bed to sleep in. They seriously don't care. Our 5 are grown, except for one's almost grown. And all of them really can't remember all the RVs we had when they grew up. They might remember bits and pieces of a few. They remember the trips more than they remember the actual RV.
And I will say on a comfy bed, it depends on how old your kid is. Because the younger they are, the less comfortable the bed they can have.
2-year-olds can sleep anywhere.
Right. Really up to like 8. They're happy to be wherever.
Yeah.
And so then after 8, it kind of gets, they want, you know, a little more comfort.
But I'm just saying, if you're being real choosy about, like, I don't know, the specifics of the RV for the kids, guess what they won't remember? The RV.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a specific bunkhouse or, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's things that we look at and we're like, oh no, we would never do that. And then, but like, again, like, when your kids are little, they're just happy to be outside and then be away from the house.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the playground anyways. I don't even know if they need a place to shower. Kids will fight you on showering while you're camping. So.
Oh yeah, it's which always makes for like a interesting ride home when you haven't got them a shower and they just stink. And your car
They
smells
smell like little wet puppies. Number 2, how expensive this hobby actually is.
Ooh, that's a big one. So, you know, when you stop and think about RVing, so if you're doing RVing to save money, let me help you right now. You're not going to save any money.
Not whether you're part-time and not whether you're full-time.
Yeah, it's just how you live. It's just a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle choice that you make. Whether you pay cash or you finance your truck or your RV or whatever kind of camper you got, you're just kind of paying into a vacation fund. Even if you pay cash, we're not financing, so we're not paying interest on anything. We're just paying cash, and you buy a middle of the road travel trailer for $30,000, and you buy a used pickup truck for $35,000. You spent 65 grand. Cash money on the barrelhead. You just think about that, is that 65 grand will go toward a lot of nice vacations. Like, you can take a hell of a lot of nice vacations for 65,000.
I mean, I'm not partial to either way, whether you pay cash for it or you finance it. Either way, it's still expensive.
Right, and so I think people sometimes think, well, we'll buy the camper, buy the truck, and we'll go camping at the state parks, and it's $40 a night. It's not.
Right.
It's not financially.
A lot of people will ask us, we've been RVing a long time, is it actually cheaper to camp at campsites than it is to book a hotel and take a real vacation? And we're like, no.
Never. But when you buy a camper, and just if you're looking at buying a camper, you're kind of thinking about getting into the lifestyle, it's not about saving money. It's about the experiences of being outside, having your hotel on wheels, and also the things that you would see that you probably wouldn't see in a hotel.
Oh, for sure. This is all inclusive in the conversation of maintaining the RV, which we all already know. Maintenance on it is going to cost you as well.
You're going to burn more fuel pulling a camper going down the road. All the tools that you have to have.
Maybe you have to pay for storage if you don't have storage at your home. You know, so that's another, could be up to like, I don't know, $1,500 a year, let's say.
Parking your camper in your driveway is 100% okay. The thing about what most people don't realize is the life of your camper is your roof. And when you set the joker out in the sun for 365 days a year, I mean, this roof takes a beating from the sun and everything, and storing it will make your investment, which it's not an investment, but it keeps your liability nicer longer, so that it's less liable to be worthless.
What you're saying is the people who leave it in their driveway will be the ones like us who keep trading in 2 years because they don't want the roof to get dried out by the sun. So you mentioned all the tools you'll need, which we've mentioned in our 29 things that ChatGPT said are no longer useful for part-time RVers and a complete waste of money.
Tools?
You can check out that video here. Tools are absolutely necessary.
Oh my gosh, you better be handy.
Yeah.
Because if you ain't handy, you'll get handy.
And I think you made a great point about tools being necessary, is that, well, they're only as necessary as the amount of tools you know how to use. And speaking of tools and equipment.
This video is sponsored by eTrailer. So speaking about equipment, one of the things I wish I would have found, and I found this and I had one on my last camper, and I want to first off say thank you to eTrailer. This video is sponsored by eTrailer, and this is a product that I wish I knew about earlier, and it's a hose carrier. And the reason why is, for years, when we had our motorhomes and we had our pushers and our pusher, I did not have great space for my sewer hoses. And while that's not a big deal, it kind of is, because I keep them in these totes. While these totes are awesome, these hoses get wet and it just gets moldy in here, and you open this thing up and you get this nice aroma of oof. And so what I have done is I got on eTrailer.com and I ordered me a sewer hose carrier. Now I only ordered one, and I have a feeling I'm gonna be ordering another one, because I don't know, I think two, might need two, because our fifth wheel doesn't have the bumper where you can slide the stinky slinky in the bumper. All I have is room for a carrier, so I'm gonna put one carrier on. Venture has a really short one on there that's not long enough for really anything, but we're gonna try to make those two work, and if not, I'll get back on eTrailer, have another one come sent to me. Super easy to do, highly recommend them. And not only do they sell hose carriers, but they sell everything from like water pressure regulators, water hoses, brake controllers. They sell stuff for your camper. They sell stuff for your trucks. So I'm gonna put this on, get rid of a tote, make a little more room for storage. So this is one of these products that I actually seen these in Idaho. Not like, I've never seen one before, but you can put fishing poles, all kinds of stuff. But I'm gonna mount this joker right up behind my leveling jacks, and this is going to be awesome because it helps me save some room in the storage. Like I say, I can get rid of a tote or put something else in the tote that I want to keep dry. Screw this into the frame rails on the bottom side, and voila, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Guys, if it ain't straight, it's Valerie's fault. You know what? You know what I wish I'd known sooner? You can buy this stuff on eTrailer. You should check it out. That way we can still be friends.
Number 3.
So a lot of people say they like their state parks and all that good stuff, which is really awesome. We like state parks and Corps of Engineers, COEs as well. What they don't tell you is how freaking hard it is to book one of those sites. Especially, you know, I think if you got like a really short camper that you can get in more sites, it would probably be a little easier. But with us being nearly 38, well, we are 38 feet long, it makes it much more difficult to find a site that would be level or that we can get on. And you have to do this stupid thing where you book 6 months out. So like if I want to go camping in a Corps of Engineer park, I got to book it 6 months out.
And you have to book it for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. You hang on to it for a week, then you drop the dates you don't want. It's so stupid.
It's so annoying. Everybody out there knows, because a lot of us try to book these state parks. They're hard to get. And if you've never got your first camper yet, or you're just, this is your first year and you're frustrated because it's so hard to book a state park. As a part-timer, maybe as a full-timer, sometimes it could be a little easier if you're booking like off-season, middle of the week, you know, but as a part-timer or a weekend warrior, forget about it. Like, it's possible and it's doable, but you've got to do it in January, you know, to book in June. And then like Jarrett said, you gotta secure that full 2 weeks just to get the date you want. And then you're waiting those 6 months to get to those actual 2 weeks. Now they're here. Oh, little Johnny has a birthday party. We need to cancel this date or that date. And then you've got these cancellations that don't make sense. And you're waiting for like last minute openings, you know, and it's just like, it's such a pain in the, you know, cheaper campgrounds that are like under $50 a night. Those are the ones everybody wants. Those are the like woodsy, nature-esque. Maybe it's on the lake. It's got a lot of trees, you know. I mean, we could talk about this for 15 minutes. I'm annoyed talking about it with you guys because this is a huge reason why Jarrett and I choose to just book more expensive RV resorts.
Well, some of our, so like we have, like I said, I was going through it today because I was letting my office know when I was going to be gone. We have like 6 or 8 trips booked for the year. And those are kind of like our bigger trips that we already have set out. And then now I'm like looking at like, we don't have much going on in July, I have nothing going on in August. And like, we will book some spontaneous trips in there. Let's go camping. And
Right.
I can tell you where we're not going camping on a spontaneous trip.
A state park.
Or Corps of Engineer.
Because you can't get in.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll have some spontaneous trips and we like to do things like that. Because ultimately, because we are part-timers and we love to camp, but like when we're in our camper for a week or so at a time, we like to be home. And then we'll be home for a while, then we'll be like, oh, let's go camping.
I would rather pay $100 a night for a site to know that I can get it right now at the computer and book that weekend than deal with what you have to deal with to get the state park or the Corps of Engineers. Myron Golden says it like this: people who see value pay for value. And sometimes value doesn't mean dollars. Sometimes value means time, less hassle. Like, what's it worth? And oh my gosh. And then of course, you know, just the differences. Things we wish we would have known sooner as far as the differences between camping in a state park and camping at an RV resort. We really do like both experiences. As a new RVer, sometimes I think you don't consider the cost of the differences and the hassle or no hassle of the differences.
Another big thing that I wish people would realize, and it's even today, this still shocks me, is like you go to these campgrounds and you pull into a site, like you can't get level one. Even with auto levelers and everything you got going on. And I'm like, you literally built this for it's a campground. It's not, I'm not boondocking in the parking lot.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
trying to sleep on the I just remember we were coming home when we lived out in Idaho, and you go down, I think it's I-80, and you pass Little America, and the very next exit we would take, and that would run you through like Preston, Wyoming, or Preston, Idaho, and takes you through Wyoming, and there is nothing out there. And we stopped to eat lunch one day, and I pull off the side of the road, and we were in our diesel pusher, and it felt like we were gonna tip over, because we were like,
Yeah.
and that's like some of the
It's been
freaking,
a couple times we've done that.
and that's like freaking campgrounds you go to sometimes. I'm like, y'all just like threw gravel down on the hill and said, yeah, but it's a campsite.
Yeah.
You know, the state parks, you kind of expect a little bit of up, you know, they're generally not as nice.
This is probably one of the longer topics of the video because it's like a big piece of the camping experience is the type of campground you're gonna book. As a mom and a wife and a woman, sometimes maybe as a new RVer, you may not consider how well or not well you might sleep in one of these remote areas. Now, I can just speak for myself only. I can't speak for anyone else out there, but I don't sleep well in a very too quiet, too dark, too remote, nobody around state park or boondocking location. Like I will get no sleep. But if there's people around and I have neighbors and there's noise and there's lights and maybe some live music, I sleep like a baby. I just feel comfortable around more people. And I'm just sharing that because there might be someone out there who's never done this before and you think you want to go out in nature and just like get away and get alone and I thought that too. And then I got away and I got alone and I've got these little toddlers and I'm thinking, I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere, in the middle of the dark. And if something ever happens to him, God forbid, I wouldn't even know what to do. I wouldn't know who to call for help, you know, those kind of things. As a young mom, like these are the things that go through your head.
If something ever happens to me, it's probably something that she did.
Okay, thanks. Like turn off your CPAP? I don't know.
If I was on life support, she'd unplug me to plug in her phone.
Y'all can comment away and tell us what you think or don't think. Maybe you sleep like a baby in a state park. I'm just the opposite. Okay. Number 4, we'll make this fast. People are only as friendly as you let them be. Honestly, if you're looking for an RV community, because the RV community is awesome, you have to join the RV community. You have to engage. You have to talk to people. So if you don't do those things, there is a thing called camping etiquette. And typically campers leave campers alone. You never like go up to someone's door and knock. You know, that's a thing.
Unless you're in trouble.
Or you need help.
Knock away if that's the case.
Yeah, but like, you know, typically like you stay off each other's sight, you give each other your space, you know. I'm sure there's eyeballs watching. Like it's a common thing in the RV community that everyone's watching you back in and set up and listening to you fight with your husband.
Well, I didn't get to experience the people at Elm Hill, but our one neighbors.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they were just from New York and that was their like natural
their
language.
dialect.
Yeah. They were just mad at each other all the time.
Apparently a lot of F words were said.
Oh yeah, I was like, Jared, shut the door, you gotta see this. They were hilarious. No, but you know, if you want friends, you just gotta like get out there and make them.
I think I've always kind of said like RVing is very Americana. It's like what feels like what it used to be, where you know people will help you if you need help, or they'll talk to you, and very like warm and engaging and stuff. But you know, you always often wonder like, what's this person like once they get home and unhook from their camper? Are they just so enjoying themselves and relaxed that they're very friendly and warm, and they get home and it's like, okay.
Because I think the lifestyle of camping and the idea of being in a camper and on a campground and camping is a getaway. And when you're getting away, you're just in a good mood. You're there to have a good time. You're there to cut up, kick back. And yeah, if that same person, those same 2 camper neighbors, I've said this before, I'm in site 15, neighbor in site 16, we haven't met yet, don't know each other's faces. If we got in the truck and got down the road in traffic and I cut him off, he might be honking at you, cussing, throwing some kind of finger birds at you.
Telling you you're number 1.
Right, and then when he gets back to the campground, then he's all, hey man, how are you, where are you from?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, it's a weird phenomenon, but it is fun and it is good and it is positive. But if you want to make friends, be a friend. Number 5, how much will you really use it?
If you're going to buy a camper, you really need to be intentional about using your camper. Because if you only camp when it's convenient or the weather's good, you'll use it once or twice a year. And honestly, like, why spend that kind of money to camp once or twice a year? We learned very early on in our camping life, our camping journey, like when I say very early on, like the first time we went camping, I don't know, this sweet old lady come up to us and we were talking and we were just telling her it's her first time camping. The weather wasn't that great. And she was like, honey, if you only camp when it's pretty, you'll never go camping. So just go have fun. And then she gave us a toaster oven.
The same lady gave us the toaster oven we've talked about before. That stuck with us over the last 13, 15 years. And yeah, it's true that don't count on the weather, just go, because even the rainiest, muddiest weekend trips sometimes are
the best.
The like greatest memories.
Yeah.
But also there's the 4-season camping like mentality. You think when you're gonna go purchase a camper, and talking about like what I wish I would have known before is, you know, oh, this is set up for 4 seasons. Well, ask yourself how realistically it is that you're going to be camping all 4 seasons. And location comes into that. Well,
before, you know, like the season thing, like if you don't want to go outside of your house because it's cold,
you're not going to camp when it's cold.
No. It's just the nature of the human nature.
Yeah. But also the location of your home state could play a big part in that.
Yes.
And so, like, just to quickly touch on it, we learned real quick when we lived in Idaho that it wasn't quite necessary that we had the motorhome, the Holiday Rambler, because we found out real quick we ain't camping on Memorial Day weekend. It's still winter.
But like on the Idaho thing, like I think what really stuck out to me when we lived out there was we went to Zion National Park for spring break in our motorhome, and when you leave, we lived in Idaho Falls, and so you take 15. It's just 15 all the way there, and we went over the Malad Pass, M-A-L-A-D, I believe is what it was, and really pretty. But I was telling my neighbor that we were taking our motorhome over the Malad Pass in 1st of April, and he's like, "You're doing what?" And I'm like,
We're like, why not?
Yeah, I'm like, we're going almost to Vegas. It'd be great. And And
Oh, it's still snowing?
And he was like, well, you really need to pay attention because that gets slick. And I'm like, like, you didn't really think about it. Just because, you know, we weren't used to that. And so we had this big motorhome where we would camp essentially 10 months out of the year.
In Kentucky.
Where you're camping maybe 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe 6. And
yeah,
the north, we're up north.
This is all you, Jarrett, number 6.
Your tow capacity and what camper to pull with what truck. Now, you guys all fussed at me about pulling my 5th wheel with a 3/4 ton and telling me my truck ain't big enough, blah, 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 blah. I bought a bigger truck. You happy? So anyway, when you're buying a truck, just know one is like what you can tow with your truck. Like what is reasonable. Make sure you're comfortable with what you're towing, like what your trailer or camper you're buying if you're going to buy towable with the vehicle you have to pull. So a lot of big thing is like tow capacity versus payload. So let's talk about like my 3/4 ton truck. My payload capacity was like right at 2,100 pounds, but I could tow combined vehicle weight of like 18.5. So like it had a lot more ability to pull things than necessarily put it in the back of the truck. So make sure that when you're getting into that you're looking into those things and making sure that, you know, you're comfortable and you're within a reasonable spec of what you're trying to do.
Number 7 is pretty quick and easy. How important the layout is. I think something I wished I would have known sooner is not to overthink the layout of the camper you're trying to buy. Sure, you want to love your camper. You're spending a lot of money on it. So get something you love within your budget. As long as it's within your budget, you're still going to love it. Because if it's outside your budget, then you're going to resent it and be mad at it. But don't overthink it. And I think the point of that is because, again, going back to how many times a year are you really going to use it? Again, context of the video, part-time RVers, you know, I just don't think overthinking your RV too much, the one you're going to buy, because man, people can get into the details.
Oh, man.
And we all do it, and we all watch the videos, and we all look at this and that. We've done it on this channel. We pick apart RVs, you know, like what we like and don't like. But sometimes just try to remind yourself what's important to you and how much is the trip more important than the actual RV. Okay, number 8, quality over shiny new features. Okay,
Me,
you, the annoying kid in the green.
So,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, it's fairly true. It's fairly accurate. So one thing I've noticed in this section is like, especially going to the RV shows we've been to in the last, you know, Tampa and Hershey here recently, is like they'll take a camper that's not the greatest quality construction. You know, they just kind of really just, you go into them and you see, after camping as much we have and walking as many campers we have, you start really noticing like the details and looking beyond the aesthetics. And I think
you could feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it when you go in the camper and you look around and like they're making this thing really pretty, and it's in a lower price point, which is most of the time when you get in that lower price point, it's kind of like a first-time RV buyer, and so they don't really know what they're looking for, and it goes into a deal of like, man, these campers are pretty, but man, it's just a big pile of garbage going down the road, and you see that. And I think when you're looking at campers, you know, make sure you're looking at the quality of the construction, not necessarily the appeal, the eye appeal.
Yeah.
And 2, I think, you know, don't overlook simplicity. So we'll just compare I think the easiest thing to compare is our 2 motorhomes that we had. We had the diesel pusher, and it had the LCD dash and all the fancy gizmos. And that joker, I was always worried, like if it broke down, we're stuck. I mean, you're talking like a $1,500 tow bill to like the nearest, you know, repair facility, and you're there for whatever. And the Ford, the Georgetown was on a Ford truck frame, and it was like, had like the gear shifter and the analog gauges, and we literally broke down in that thing in front of KOA's store. And with a little thought and convincing on Valerie, we got on the road and finished our trip. And if we were camping, we could have finished our whole trip and got home.
We still have to pay attention to quality, because at the end of the day, you still don't want to spend all this money on a camper and like things are really falling apart, because that sucks for everybody.
And I'm just going to break it to you. It doesn't matter if you buy a $25,000 or $5,000 camper, or if you buy a $750,000 camper.
You're dragging it down I-65.
And they all break.
Number 9, the importance of tank size and dumping setup. Go for it, Jarrett.
So I think, let's just talk about tank size. And you need to really pay attention to tank size if you're on how you camp. Now, if you're one of these guys that's going to hardcore boondock and you're going to spend 2 weeks at a time or a month at a time in the desert, tank size 100% matters. You really need to pay attention to that. But if you're like us, where we like to camp with full hookups, and our idea of boondocking is a weekend without full hookups, meaning we have electric and water, just no sewer.
It doesn't matter too much.
It doesn't matter as much. So your black tank and your gray tank still matter in that situation. But if you're one of these people that go to places and camp on full hookups, it really doesn't matter how big your tanks are. One of the big things, and it's a pet peeve of mine, is multiple drains. And like, you know, so we have a gray tank up front and a gray tank out back. And now when we bought,
Our current one has one.
the last two have had them. And
But that's because me and I wanted a rear kitchen.
and that's okay. I mean, it goes back to it was layout that we want. And so happy wife, happy life. And,
That's exactly
and
right.
so, you know, it's just one of those things. But like, you know, when we sold our diesel pusher, the Georgetown had 2 hookups because we had 2 bathrooms. And then when we sold her, we got into the diesel pusher, we had 1 single. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm never going back to 2. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I like our rear kitchen too because I love all the back windows.
I love it.
And so
It's worth another drain.
for someone who never touches the drain.
Number 10. Oh gosh, this is a big one. Travel speed and trip planning are very different. When you're in an RV, traveling takes longer. Period. End of story. It just takes longer. You're pulling something bigger. You're not going 82. You're stopping for fuel. There's only possibly 1 driver, and driver number 1 gets tired. And driver number 1 can't drive more than maybe 6 or 7 hours.
Depends
I'm
on the
just
day.
saying.
Depends
on the day. So don't forget how many drivers you might have. You know, it's not like when you're traveling, you're going on a road trip. Let's go on a road trip. We're going to California. We'll be there in 2 days. No, you won't. Not in an RV.
No.
No. And it's going to cost a lot of money because you have to, you know, pay to stay the night, of course.
And so when we're camping, I've always been like, we're on like the straightest interstate, and I'm like, we've got like 100 miles of this interstate. Like, you don't even have to turn the wheel. You pull out, you straighten up, and just go straight. And I'm like, please drive. And she's like, I don't want to. And which I get it. It is intimidating. But I'm like, it would be nice if we had that second driver to where like I could knock off a 45-minute nap.
I'm considering learning soon after 13 years.
We'll see. She's never driven once.
Another point to that is because this can cause tension, it can cause a fight, especially if you get hangry. If you didn't prepare well, as far as like travel day meals and snacks or whatever, just know that like you're not going to get to pull into wherever your little heart desires. Like, just forget it, ladies. If you only can rely on driver number 1 and you're not like super awesome at like pulling into a Chick-fil-A, let's say, or somewhere where you want to go. And I'm not saying I could do better. I'm just saying like you're not going to do it. So if I could, I might try it, but don't make me laugh on camera.
I'm just going to say
I'm
this.
just cracking up because every time we go somewhere, me and the girls get a hankering for Chick-fil-A.
And what I always tell you, what makes Valerie want Chick-fil-A more than anything in the world?
Go on a weekend camping trip.
No, it's Sunday. Everybody wants Chick-fil-A on Sunday. Or a 38-foot camper behind my dually that's 13.5 tall that doesn't fit in any place that a semi won't go.
Yeah. My point is, you don't get to pull over to wherever you want. Okay, but there is Buc-ee's. There is things like Cracker Barrel, fine, whatever. But like, you don't get to pull into anything.
Travel day should consist of beef jerky and Gatorade. That's all you need.
According to you. And if driver number 1's in control and mom forgot, you know, all the snacks, and we're in trouble. Number 11 is small problems can ruin a weekend if you're not mentally prepared. This goes right into what we were just talking about. If you're not mentally prepared and you have this like mindset that everything's going to be great and rainbows and sunshine, just know ahead that like you get lucky if that happens and you have like a perfect trip and nothing goes wrong. Praise the Lord. Like, you're so grateful for those trips because y'all know out there, like, if it goes well and the camper stayed in good shape, didn't get a flat tire, all the kids were happy, nobody got injured or hurt, and the weather was great and you had a fantastic time, what a blessing those trips are. 3/4 out of the time, you can expect that something might go wrong. You might have to change the tire. It might pour down rain the entire weekend. And I think just like knowing not everything's always rainbow and sunshine, if you can just prepare yourself, then you can accept them, then know there will be another trip later. Because when that happens to us now, having done this so long, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, let's just go home. It's fine. We'll try again 2 weeks. Okay, number 12 is don't let the weather affect your camping plans. Now, we kind of already touched on that, But again, things we wish we knew known sooner. You can't always count on the weather. The weather always fluctuates, especially if you're booking in Florida. Like, keep the trip booked because
It's going to blow out pretty soon anyway.
Yeah, we went to Orange Beach during a tropical storm, and it was like a beautiful weekend.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying you never know.
That was a hairy drive going down, I'll tell you that. But
The drive down was a little rough. Number 13 is the realities of all the different campgrounds. Sites aren't always level or spacious, and you never know what your view is going to be like and what your neighbors are going to look like. So, things I wish I would have known sooner. I think I always had the mentality that let's hit the road and go camping in an RV. We're gonna have all these awesome views. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be this mountain view. Okay, well, that might be true in certain circumstances if you can get that site booked. But typically, you're gonna go camping near-ish to around your house. Again, part-timers. If you're not full-time, it is really hard to get across the country one time a year, let alone twice a year. It's likely not gonna happen. Because going across the country, the flyover states, you need at least 2 weeks to have a good time and like get there comfortably and safely and have a good time. Chances are you're gonna camp close-ish to home, and close-ish to home is either maybe a state park or just like a local campground, or maybe it does have a lake, but typically you're going to be looking at your neighbor's black tank and listening to all the kids on the campground and possibly mowers and blowers and all the noise and the diesel truck that wants to pull out at 6 a.m. So you thought you were going to get to sleep in till 9, 10. Wrong. Your neighbor wants to pull out and get out of there before the sun comes up.
He got a long drive that day. He getting out early.
Right.
Driver one is like, I want to get this over with because I'm going to be tired.
Again, mentally preparing yourself. Number 14, the weekend crowds are real.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're a weekend warrior, part-timer, and you can only book on weekends or long weekends or Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day weekend, blah, blah, blah.
Like most of us.
Yes, there's going to be a crap ton of people there. It's going to be booked. You got to book in advance. And when there's a crap ton of people there, there's a crap ton of kids there, which we love our kids. Don't misunderstand the context of this video.
Right.
But again, going back to like thinking it's going to be this grand experience. They have this lovely pool. It's going to be so beautiful and scenic and relaxing. Not with 300 kids in the pool that just lathered up with sunscreen.
Doing God knows what else in the pool.
There's a half-inch thick layer of sunscreen on the pool. And, sometimes there's hair in there too. Like sometimes it's like not the greatest experience. And it's 90 degrees outside with 80% humidity.
Right.
And it feels like a sauna anyway.
To Valerie's point is you go thinking, I'm going to get away for the weekend. I'm going to relax. And you show up to the campground.
It's not relaxing.
It's packed. The overflow site's got 2 campers in them, and it's just everybody's just there. Like I honestly like the best day if you're going to go to a campground and if you want quiet is like probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
You know what came to my mind? Jellystone.
Oh yeah.
That's the Jellystone experience.
And when honestly though, if you have small kids like
that dirty little lake.
Yeah, the one in Cave City. And I'm not knocking.
I don't mean that mean. Our kids loved it when they were little.
Yeah, if you got little kids, Jellystone is hard to beat. And
we would not book that right now in this stage of our life.
No.
Number 15 is we want to hear from you guys.
You tell us, what is something that you wish you would have known before you bought your camper? I'm just curious.
Like, we love the feedback in the conversation. Comment below and tell us something you wish you would have known sooner. Did we cover the bases? We hope we didn't make this sound negative because that's not the purpose of it at all. It's just the realities of camping, and if you've done this for many years, you already know, and you're probably agreeing with us already in the comments.
I would if you got kids or if you can afford to do it, just take your kids camping, man. Some of the best some of the best camping trips we had is when it's been pouring down rain and we just broke out a deck of cards and played cards with the kids and just board games or whatever when they were little.
Set up the bowling pins in the camper.
Yes, we had that big old
throw the stuffed animals and whatever.
Yeah, it's just the stuff that you kind of come up to do, but you're not at home and you're not in that environment of just everybody's kind of doing their own thing. It makes you be more of a family unit. Highly recommended, and I think I just would not trade the last 13 or so years of us camping for nothing.
And speaking of, we're getting ready to go on another fun trip, but this time it'll just be me and you. So the seasons of life change, guys. Your campers will change, your family will change, but the one thing that still remains the same is like this lifestyle is still fun.
And we will do this until
it's no longer fun.
Yeah.
Which I don't know when that'll be. Because even with the sunscreen pools and the black tank views, we have a good time.
we make the most out of our trips and our time together for sure. So
Yeah. Okay. I don't have anything else to say.
she has nothing else to say.
See you on our next adventure.